And it's like saying you're walking through the desert, the wind blew in one particular way, the heat heated one particular area, and what, yo, behold, there's a mobile phone there. If I told you that's how your mobile phone is created, you would never believe me. So why is it that we are so much more complex than a mobile phone? One cell in our body is more complex than a mobile phone. How can we come to the notion that we was created without a God? So I've always believed in God without fail. Just didn't have a religion to follow at that time. It started from when I was at school. I was taught a lot in class about black history, mainly regarding slavery and freedom fighters. This was something along the lines like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. These, in all respects, are great pioneers, and alhamdulillah, I'm blessed to have such a history and to understand it. So I started reading the Bible directly myself. Even the Quran, I started reading. To be honest, the first time and the second time I tried to read the Quran, I was trying to punch holes into it. I read the Bible, and the Bible I was able to discredit to a certain extent, and I wanted to do the same with the Quran. But reading this verse prompted me to try and find some form of text or something around which somebody had produced to create an ayat or a single line more beautiful than what had been produced in the Quran. I didn't find it. I still haven't found it, and I'm no longer looking for it. Alhamdulillah. Read the book itself. Is to read the Quran and understand it as a whole text rather than individual blocks of text. When you do this, the message of Islam can clearly be misguided and clouded. And this is why nowadays we get a lot of misconceptions about Islam. We went into the masjid, and an old sister took my wife to where the sisters pray, and I was taking pictures, and Sammy asked me if I would like to pray as well. I didn't really see the point, but I was interested into what happens and how we pray. So he said to me, if I want to pray, all I need to do is follow him and try to repeat exactly what he's saying. So I followed him, we made our attention, and we started to pray. And as soon as the first time my head touched the ground, I didn't come back up. For how long, I'm still unsure. I don't know if I was there for 2 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't know if Sammy prayed all 4 and then finished. I'm not sure. But before I rose back up, I started to weep. I started to cry. And I didn't feel like I was crying. I felt like I was crying from inside. And it felt like somebody was asking me, or Allah was asking me, what am I looking for? What is taking me so long? Prior to going to Egypt, I actually went to Egypt with a Quran in my hand luggage. I was reading the Quran pretty hard with a highlighter pen. I was making notes. Things that I didn't understand, I got on the internet, I read up on. And I felt like Allah, at this present time of me touching my head to the ground, was saying, you found me now. What's taking you so long? What are you looking for? Down in Baker Street, I think there's a bookshop called Al Taqwa. And I believe the sheikh there was also called Sammy. And he explained to me the importance of making my shahada, and he explained to me the path which I would be on afterwards and the 5 pillars of Islam. But once I made my shahada, I felt light. I felt at ease, and knowing that I had done so much wrong, or I had sinned so much in the past, and just by saying my shahada, that I had shed those sins, and I was new to start again. It felt good, and my life since making my shahada has been on a balance. The Quran itself, if you're searching, it is perfect. It is the perfect book for you. I have a Quran with me. It is pocket size, and it goes everywhere I go. I now highlight it in yellow, in pink, in blue, just so I can understand what I've been reading recently. So I say it again, I reiterate myself, read, but don't just read for knowledge, read to apply to your life and make a change, because only then the Quran would affect us, and only then the Quran will fill our hearts. The Quran means to me is a wholehearted blessing which I've been shined upon. The Quran for me is like a beacon of light which shines in darkness. The Quran for me is something which I read when I'm feeling happy, when I'm feeling sad, and when I'm feeling lost. The Quran for me is everything. It is my whole life. It is not just a law, and it's not just a way of life. The Quran for me is everything. Before Islam was a good relationship. I wouldn't say my relationship changed much. After I had converted from Islam, it was a bit rocky for the first year or 2 years. My mum has this conception, like a lot of people in the West tend to have, that Islam is a horrible religion and it can bring out the worst in people. But alhamdulillah, after she sees me practice and she sees the way I act and I behave, and she watches me pray. My dad has come to me to the masjid before and he's seen us all pray together. They are also very religious, and they understand how important God is in our lives.